Let's go. Same. Voice working? Cool. Alright. Alright, continuing the quiz from yesterday. Don't know what I want to watch, really. Or listen to, rather. Oh. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Okay. Let's see. Why am I putting that there? Okay. Alright, so yesterday I started this but then had to delete the video. We have an unscoped enum in a namespace that has a list of items. These are the items. We can assert that the size is correct in main, so we create this standard vector, and it has some number of health potions, some number of torches, and some number of arrows. It's a lot of fucking torches. We can assert that the size is, that we can assert that the vector has a length so that each type of item has a spot, which it does. It has 3 separate spots. Excuse me, 0, 1, and 2. And boom, we have 3 separate guys. So the point here is we're asserting that the total size is 3. Why? Because our max items guy is 3, which means that we have 3 previous enumerator values. So cool. Our array is the right size. Now we want to print all the items and the total items. Well, the total items is easy. All we're doing is passing the standard vector there as by reference, creating some sum variable, and then because our values here, our actual elements, are integers, we can just sum them. So, and this would work if there were floats or anything else like that that could be summed. So we're getting each element by reference so that we don't have to copy from this array to an individual variable and then use it. Instead, we're just getting it by reference, so it's cheap. We're just looking at where it is in memory for this one particular element item. We're summing all the values and printing the total amount of items. And then we're also printing all the items, so how many of each item we have. Let me eat this real quick. Oh yeah. So in this case, I also have a class template, so this would work with, let's see. This actually works regardless of whether these are numbers or not. You could say, this is dog, cat, sheep, and it would say you have sheep, health potion, you have this, you have this. So. And actually, and maybe it would work and maybe not, because we're actually evaluating those numerically, and maybe there's no common type between a string and an integer, but I'm not sure. So I have actually, I don't even have a loop here, do I? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, duh. So we have a loop here. We have an assigned loop counter, and we do it for each element in the vector. Do we want this to be a for each? No. We're not doing a for each loop here because I specifically need to check the index of the vector. I don't want to do for each because I need to see each loop. Is it the first loop? Is it the second loop? Is it the third loop? Which one is it? Because there are 3. So the total size is 3, and we're doing it while we're less than 3. So we're doing it for 0, and then 1, and then 2, and then not for 3. So we're saying we're getting the item, so we're getting the number of this index, and we're passing in index here. We're getting .data to convert this into a C-style array, which we can use. We can index with a signed index value. You have some number space of whatever the name of the actual enum is. So instead of hard coding health potion, torch, arrow, I just do. Oh, this is actually pretty good. This is better than I thought. Instead, we actually just pass in the index we're using, because when we call item as string, our oh, but this actually works. Okay, good. Thought something about this wasn't working, but okay. Yeah. So we're able to cast from index this pointer diff t, so this signed long basically. And we're able to convert that down to these tiny little number 0, 1, 2, 3. We had static cast. And then to handle plurality, so print number of item, and then handle plural items, and then spacing. And this is actually print all items. So you have 3 health potions, 1, 0. And we say, okay, pass in 0 to here. So we're passing in 0, which matches this case, which is health potion. But if we have 3 health potions, we need to have an S afterwards. So we handle plural items. So if we're talking about health potions, or we're talking about arrow, because arrows and health potions versus torches has an ES, just English grammar. And then we say if we have 0, we have 0 health potions. But if we have more than 1, we have health potions as well. So we add an S. If instead, and sure we can have an else here, but these cases will never happen at the same time. So there's no point in, doesn't matter if it's if or if else. Or else if. Not else if, it would be else if. And then we're checking to see if we have a torch. And then again, if the quantity is 0 or if it's greater than 1, then we add ES. And then we add the spacing. So we have this little inventory where we have 1 element for each item type, 3 total item types, because this guy's value is 3, which counts how many of these there are. And then how many of the prior enumerators there are. We print all the individual items, basically an itemized inventory, and then we print them all total, 16. Cool. And I could change this to be 0 and then leave that. So now it'll be potion 0. Oh, yeah, health potions. But now it's health potion. But then we could say 1 torch. And then we could say 1 arrow. But it's always 3 items. Oh, we could also say we have 1, let's see. If total items is 1, well, really it should be, we print this and then item, and if it's 0 or greater than 1. So if total items is greater than or is 0, or total items is greater than 1, then output S, because we have plural items, and then output spacing. So we have spacing, handle plural items. Cool. Cool. And now if we say 0, 0, you have 1 health potion, 0 torches, 0 arrows, 1 item. We can go back to 5 and 10. 1 health potion, 5 torches, 10 items. Oops, I don't know what happened. I did a crazy hotkey. 16 items. Okay. Yep. So use a loop to print out the number of items and the item names for each inventory item. So it prints this. Cool. What can we do to improve? Anything? Nothing here to be made const expression. This can, because we aren't using anything that's runtime only. So this can be const expression at least sometimes. And then now we have a bunch of runtime stuff happening here. Can't be made const expression because these are only in runtime. So there's no way that this could evaluate at compile time. And then same here. Cool. Okay. What else? Oh, already made this, maybe. Oh, and then it does extra stuff. Okay. Oh, wow. Holy shit, that's a lot of stuff to do here. I like it. Okay. Honestly, this is pretty good. I like this little sad song. Okay. Yeah, I did it a little shorter. Let's see what happened. Oh, true. You could just get items singular versus plural. A whole separate function just to do that, though. And then you say if it's 0 or greater than 1. Oh, you could also do... You could totally do that, too. That was so bad. If you could say... If it's not equal to 1. So if it's 0 or it's greater than 1. That makes sense. Well, but if it was -1, but you can't hold -1 items. Yeah, that's true. So we could just say... If the index is not equal to 1. And then same shit here. And then data index is not equal to 1. That would be easier. That's true. Because we're saying in this case, are we talking health potion or arrow? Okay. And are we not talking about 1? We're talking about 0 or more than 1? Add plural. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. Excuse me. To convert value what are you talking about? Oh, nice. Same shit. Okay, I'll take it. Same implementation pretty much. Write a function that takes a standard vector. Okay, so we'll pass one by reference. Returns a standard pair. Is that algorithm? I don't remember. I don't remember where a pair comes from. Okay, so we get two vectors. The point is we're calling a function with it, and it's going to return a pair. For what? Pass the array. We return a pair. The pair has the minimum and the maximum. Those are the indices. And we say, okay, we print. Okay. I mean, I guess we just do it on a standard character output line. It's kind of boring though. Okay. Sure, I'll take these values. No init vector. Okay, also know we need to print. And so we'll say find min max. A standard pair. Where is standard pair? Oh, it's in utility. Okay. TUV. Class T1, class T2, struct pair. Oh, because it could be of two different classes. Gotcha. Or no. Sorry. Yeah, same type. Okay. Because there are two objects, T and T. In this case, it just needs a template type T, type name T. We could swap. We could get. Yeah, but this is basically just a struct, right? So I could just get, like, if we created a standard pair x 3 and 4 x dot first and second. Okay. I need this could work. And so we'll say standard well, const expression standard pair get min and max from vector, or get vector min and max, and it takes a const standard vector reference vector hold. Oh, does it need to know? I mean, we could specify. Okay. Or we could just say template type name T, a vector of some type T, and the pair is also of some type T. What are you comparing? What are you crying about? Oh, does it need two? T and T? Oh. This is the type definition, but in here, in pair, it needs to know how many things it's getting and what the types of them are. Okay. Our standard vector deals with some type. Oh, fuck, there's another nat. And then this needs to deal with that too. Okay. All right, so we're going to say... So we could just say T min and T max, and then a for each loop to go through each, and then assign the first one to be max. Well, let's see. Actually, we could just leave these guys as nothing, and then assign them. Let's see. Const auto reference value, and then from vector, we'll say min is now value, and max is now value. Well, hold. What do we really need here? I almost want to do, like, if we did a, excuse me, a regular for loop, if the index is 0, then we could set min and max to be whatever that value is. I think I will, and then if we can find a way to do a for each, then cool. And we'll do standard pointer diff t, the index starts at 0, while index is less than standard s size, so signed size of vector, increment index, and then we'll say if index is 0, then min is vector data index, and max is vector data index. Cool. And now we can say if min, or well, if vector data, and sure, maybe we even, instead of reevaluating this over and over again, we could just assign this to be this value. I feel like this might be better. Like, instead of running all these vector.data index, I could just save the value. So we could say a t current value. And it's initialized with vector.data index. Okay, and now instead we'll say current value, and we'll say current value, and then we'll say if current value is greater than max, or what we'll say is less than min, then min is now this current value, and then if current value is greater than max, then that's the new max, so max is current value. Okay. And then I think that means at the end we would have the values, and then we could return a standard pair with min max, and then we could say I don't want multiple calls, I just want one. So how do we save it? We could say standard pair v1 pair, and it's initialized with get vector min and max of v1, and then standard pair v2 pair get vector min and max v2 to get for v2 pair, and then we could say oh, and it's actually index. That's what this needs to be. I figured. Okay. So we could do a, because we need to store the index, that's the point. So we're gonna say static cast to the t index, and then same thing here, static cast to t index. Oh, hold. Oh, meaning it doesn't have to be initialized. Okay. So we could say Oh, well, we'll just value initialize these guys first. We could have them be standard optionals. So if it's of size, if this thing is of size 0, then we can't, then there's nothing to get an index of. Because 0 can't be less than 0, so it wouldn't run. In this case, we could just say that we have 0 and 0 as sentinel values. That's fine. But 0 could also be true. 0 could be the max. Like maybe we have an array and it has a bunch of zeros. I think standard optional could be better here. If you value initialize a standard optional, does it get null opt by default? I'm not sure. I'll do the sentinel value way first, and then we can do a better way later. So we'll do print vector min max, and it takes a const standard vector vector reference, sure. It doesn't know the type though. Sure, we'll do this. Okay, so it takes the vector, but it also takes the min and the max. So it takes a standard pair t, 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 min max. How do we index this guy without worrying? Because if it has a length of 0, we can't even index 0. And by default, this could be returning 0 and 0. So we could say we could just check. Yeah, if we're saying if vector's size is greater than 0, means that it actually has a 0 index, then, oops, what the hell? Min is at index min max dot first with value vector data min max first, and then max is at index min max dot second with value vector data min max second. Okay, and then we could say else vector has length 0 and no min or max. Okay, and now we could say print vector min max v1 and v1 pair, and then print vector min max v2 and v2 pair. Uh-oh, hold 35. What is happening here? Oh, is it not? That makes sense. It's that first because we're talking a struct. We're talking data members here, buddy. Not a function. Subscript of not of integral type. Oh, hold. The problem is these need to be of int type. In these, well, actually, in these can be whatever. The problem is do we need min index and max index? Oh. So we could say int min index, int max index, and we are saying, okay, we have the current value, and we're checking. If the index is 0, then we assign min and max to be whatever the values are that this holds. And then we're saying if the current value is less than the min, then min index is this guy. And this needs to return min index and max index. Hold, we're getting there. Print vector min and max. And these should not be of the same type. There's no standard pair. Like in this case, we have a standard pair of integers, and in this case, we have a standard pair of integers and a vector of integers, but in this case, we have a standard pair of integers and a standard vector of doubles. That doesn't match. So this actually needs to be a standard pair int. Hold. Where is the conversion from double to int? This shouldn't be happening. Min index. What are we static casting to a T4? This should be a static cast to int. Uh-oh, hold. I did not do any inlines. That was bad. And maybe we just do this at the end. And then hold the value space this. Hold. With value this. Oh. Yeah, sure. So the minimum in this case is indeed at index 2, and it has a value of 2. The minimum, or in the maximum is, well, 2 cases, but it's going to say probably, oh. But 2 of these are at 8. Oh, this is not right. The logic is incorrect here. I'm curious why. All right, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, nah. Why is it doing that? Turning a pair of min and max. Or, well, min index, max index. So for this one, we're saying, okay, there's the current value. We're getting it from the vector at the current index. Cool. Excuse me. The index is only 0 one time, so we're initializing, excuse me, min and max with whatever the smallest value is. And then later on, we're saying, oh, we need to do two things actually. It's stopping early. And we could do this two ways. Maybe this is redundant. Min is now current value. Max is current value. So now this will be the correct answers. And it's getting the first instance of this 8. It's not capturing both. I could return it a stack with each one, so we could say the max is at this index and this index, and I could push the indices onto a stack to say, hey, we found value 8, we pushed its index onto the stack, but we also found it at this stack, and then we can loop through and we could see if it's found at multiple places in the stack. But maybe we only care about, in this case, the first instance of it being the max. So we do get smallest value here. Is it index 2? The value is 2. The largest, the max is at, hold, what the fuck? The max is at index 1. Uh-oh. Five and 4, those are correct, but... Oh, wait, here we go. Right. Min is at index 2 with value 2. Max is at index 0, 1 with value 8. Yeah. Two and 2, 1 and 8, 4 and 1.2, 5 and 8.8. Cool. But how can I improve this? 1, well, it's already const expression. Cool, good job. We could do, so get starting value to compare to later values with, or just say for comparing later values. For comparing, we could just say elements. And we could say, like, what is find a thing? Vector.find? No. Okay. We have to loop through to do that. So I'll say this. So instead of saying, hey, we save the maximum and the minimum value, and then we have to loop through it and set the index to be where it is, this is just a bunch of extra loops. Instead, I'm just going to say, hey, when we find the smallest value, or the current smallest value, we save where it is, and we save what the value is. And the only reason we're saving what the value is to compare future values. That's it. And I guess we don't necessarily need min and max here. We could just compare it to vector.data. But I think this might be better, instead of calling that member function over and over again. But it's also not creating these, it's also not assigning so much. So let's say, we also need to compare the values. So we could say, if the index is 0, then we actually set min index is index and max index is index. I'm just going to remove min and max altogether. And I'm going to say if the current value is less than vector.data min index, then min index is now this index. And actually we're going to get an arrow conversion here, so we probably do need a static cast to an int. And if it's greater than vector.data max index, so whatever that value in it already is, we can say max index is a static cast to an int of this index. And what we do is we return min index and max index. Okay. 18 and 19, where are the issues here? We're assigning min index to be index. And because this is a big value, we also need this static cast to an int. I just missed that. Oops. Same shit. Same value. Cool. 2 and 2, or 2 and 2, 1 and 8, 4 and 1.2, 5 and 8.8. Cool. Now we don't have that redundant assigning. We're saying what's the smallest or what's the index of the smallest thing and the biggest thing? Or what are the indices of the smallest and biggest elements? And then we say, okay, we're gonna get the current value. And maybe we don't. Maybe we don't even want to assign it this much. What if we say instead of current value, what if instead we just say vector.data index? Okay. And vector.data index. And this isn't an if else. We could have, well, I guess it wouldn't be the min and the max. So it could go either way, honestly. Store min value index. Store max value index. And then return indices. Only print values and index the vector if it has valid elements. Vector has no length handle. Or we could say handle vector with no length. Okay? And sure, we could make this guy const. Could make this guy const. Can this guy be const expression? It cannot. Just like a vector. Okay? Excuse me. So we're what, ditching the float, and we're only doing, or the double, and we're only doing, taking integers? Oh, I guess I didn't do a, with array. We could say void print array. We could say if vector size is 0, vector has no length. Well, actually, we could say we'd probably want to handle this first. Actually, yeah, we will. I don't need to control this here. I could just say, if the size is greater than 0, or is called if vector.size is 0, else okay, so we handle that, and now we could say this only gets called here. All right. Maybe we don't even do this. We could just say print array vector. We say with array oh, what is this? This happens once, and then we'll traverse and print array values. We could say in the event that it gets called without anything, then we could return early. Like if vector size is 0, return. And sure, we could put something else before here too, but whatever. We could do space and then value. And the commas before. And here, instead of traversing, we could just say, we could do another regular loop. Let me say I think we always want to print space and then print vector data index. To get the value. And then at the end, we're going to output this guy. And then inline, I think. And then we're going to say if index, if the index is if index plus 1 could say if index plus 1 is still less than the standard signed size of vector, then output comma. Oops. There he is. And then we could just enter this at the end too, to handle the space after, because the spaces come before here. Cool? With these guys, the minimum is at index 2 with value 2, and the max is at index 1 with value 8. With this array, the index is at 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.2, and 5, 8.8. Coolio. Modify so the user enters as many integers as they like. Okay, so we can do the same thing, except we're creating the vector to initialize it now. Oh shit, okay. I knew this was gonna be perfect. Wow, yes, a fantastic playlist. Great choices. Algorithm, I guess. All right, let me eat a little bit more. Been starting to get a little bit less confident in my C++ abilities, but I think it's just because I had those 2 days off, and then yesterday I had to watch a fight last night, so I had to get off early. So it was like no hours, 5 minutes, and then an hour and a half ish, maybe an hour and a half yesterday. Granted, I spent like 4 hours in trying to figure out game stuff, but now I'm just waiting on an answer. But I don't know. Especially now that I'm looking into Unreal C++, I'm like, fuck, there's a lot of stuff I don't know what's going on. A lot of it's just learning how things work in Unreal, though. Not not stuff about the language, actually, which is surprising, but okay. Well, the plugins is the hard part, too, because the plugins involve a lot of other raw C++ that I haven't seen in Unreal. For example, defining macros and what else? That's probably a big example. Threads and other stuff like that. Just people who are much more versed in C++. It's intimidating. I want to be able to comprehend it, so I just have to work with it. It's just gonna take hours. Like here. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the initializers for standard vectors. In this case, we're only gonna be handling ones that take integers, or at least we're gonna be handling them all, but they're just coincidentally not gonna have, they're only gonna be filled with integers. So we're gonna say void, what do we do? I mean, we could just return, we could just do a move, I guess, right? So we could just return a vector. So we could do, excuse me, but do we care about, do they have to be integers? I guess they don't, right? No, because these are just the values, so who cares about the integer? Oh, and -1 stops, okay. I'm gonna try this without making it be an integer. I'm gonna say standard vector t, because we're gonna be using move semantics to return it. Fill vector, and we're gonna pass a standard vector t. Well, I guess we're not gonna know the type, so maybe the types have a little conflict here. Maybe we have to specify it in the beginning. Yeah, I guess we do for this template to work, because this is it's class template argument deduction, not parameter deduction. So standard vector t, sure. And it needs to be a reference, so we can change the actual guy. Vector, and then okay. But now we're gonna replace this with fill vector and fill vector. Return by value to use move semantics. So we could go either way. And actually, we don't need this. What are the issues here? Doesn't take the arguments? Yeah, because these guys just don't have any values right now. And if they don't have any values and they don't have any types, then you're screwed. So we'll say int and double. Okay. That way we call this Oh, but we don't even know. It doesn't take arguments though. That's the problem. I don't really want to do this. I'd rather do void, honestly. Let's just do void, and it accepts a standard vector t reference vector. Well, if I just want to fill it and return a standard vector, I have to pick the type. All right, fine. All right, we'll do this for now. But this guy needs to be int as well for now. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we could pass it itself. Be reference, have it be void, pass it itself. But then it would be v1 fill vector v1. Like, bro, that's just trash. All right, and then we'll say while true, we'll do an int user value. What prompt is he saying? Anything? Okay. And this could just be a one-time thing. Oh, really? Hold. Sure. We could say enter integers one time, and then we say yeah, we extract one number, two, or well, and I guess we do need one. We need an int user value. And then we could say, we could handle invalid input too, but I guess we don't even want to. Well, we could. We could say if not standard character input dot, or not standard character input, then okay, well, abort if uf character entered. Handle invalid input. We could also just have here, I mean, sure, and this could be in namespaces too. I could, yeah, it's kind of boring. Say void ignore line. I don't like the song. Where's the playlist at? Oops. Numeric, oops, sorry. Limits. Excuse me. And then continue. Excuse me. And I guess we also create the vector too. Is this redundant though? I can't create a temporary and push back into it. I have to. Oh wait. Maybe we just return it like this. I think this might be okay. If input fails, then we do it again. Enter a bunch of numbers. Then we should be able to do vector pushback user value. We can also do if user value is -1, then we can break the loop and then return to vector. Uh-oh. Oh, true. The thing here is that we're entering all of them together. If we're entering -1, we don't want to push that one back. If I entered 2 again, then it stops here. Break. We entered this. We're getting standard character input. We entered 1, 2, 3, 4, -1. So it should be. It should extract 1, push it back. Well, what happens if we enter multiple? Any more calories? It's not clocking to me yet. If we extract 1 to here, push it back, 2, push it back, 3, push it back, 4, push it back, -1, break return, no? Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god, that's why. I forgot we were doing it for 2 vectors. Was it working? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -1 to stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lowest value is at 0, and the highest is at index 5. Nice. Okay, good. And then we went to 2, 3, 1, and the lowest is at index 2 and index 1. Okay, good. I was scared for a sec. I was wondering why it wasn't taking it the first time. It wasn't clocking to me. But now it's clocking to me. So now we could say 9, 9, 9, 9, -1, -1. We say the minimum and the max are both at index 0 because it's the first 9 we get. Nothing later is greater or less than the value. And then we say the vector is of length 0 with no min or max because we didn't actually enter any values because we created an empty standard vector. We don't push back -1, and then boom. Okay. This can't be const expression. This can be const expression. So can that? Cool. Okay. Uh-oh. Duh. Ignore line is also doing runtime only stuff. Duh. Three, 8, 5, 2, 3, 7, -1. 3, 5, 2, 3, 7, -1. Cool. Oh, he made it so much shorter. Oh my god. Did he just do it in 2 lines? Aw, this bitch. He did it all within main. He didn't have any of these extra signatures. It was just all in here. Disgusting. I don't even... Yuck. Anything new? This doesn't handle negative values like mine, though. Because if he initializes them with 0, and then he never enters anything... Well, actually, 0 is the minimum. Well, I guess the minimum and max index are actually 0. That's true. Hold. It's not the value. Why was I doing it? What was I doing? Why was I doing this? Wait. If the index is 0... Bro, okay, that was just retarded. It should start at 0. Okay, I just did that stupidly. And then these lines can be killed. No point making it big nested like that. Okay, and he just did the rest in main. Cool. Limit print array. Then he's this condition to check if it should be a comma. If comma oh, he checks if the next one should be comma. So if he entered one, he puts comma for the next. Oh wait, hold. And then it says if comma. But if there's no next element, then it doesn't actually do it. Okay, interesting. If it's -1 break, otherwise do this. Yeah, he also cleared. Continue. Yep. And he was just pushing it back. He didn't do any returns, so it makes sense that it'd be shorter. Instead of hangman? Makes sense. The classic children's lynching game, hangman. Oh, that's funny. True. Computer will pick a word at random and draw an underscore for each. Okay, so it has a vector. It picks a word and assigns that. Hold. And do we have a loop where we're pushing it onto the stack, and then for each in the vector, it draws an underscore? And so do we have a vector of characters then? Player will guess a letter. If it's guessed, if it's already been guessed, we can just continue a loop to get input again. And then we can check to see if go through the loop and what, have another stack? Or we could loop through it and then output the same thing, but instead of underscores with the actual letter, if it matches any of the elements. And then each time, and we have an int that decreases each time. And we could just do a while loop for the guesses. Or a for loop for the, well, yeah, a while loop for the guess. A for loop for the guesses, yeah. Excuse me, no, well, a while with a for inside it, something like that, because, excuse me, we want to continue the input. So I think it's a for loop. Yeah, it is. It's a for loop with a while loop inside it. Because if you keep on guessing X over and over again, you're not using any lives, but you are continuing the loop each time to get new input. Excuse me. And then you've guessed these. Okay. A plus symbol. A variant of hangman: to win, guess the word; to lose, run out of phrases. So we enter A. A is not in the word. B is in the word, and it says the word B. Yes, C is in the word. I've only used one wrong guess, and it was A, and I guess it puts it at the end. Oh, so is it adding it to the stack? I guess so. And then, so it's broccoli, BROCCOLI, yeah. And then onto your next letter. Okay, so make sure the input is valid, so it hasn't used the input though. If you enter D, you already guessed D. Doesn't do it. If you enter E, E is not in there. G is not in there. And at the end of the loop, if you guess the word in the loop, then you're cool. And maybe we actually do have a while loop. And we check, because we want this to actually execute forever. Or execute while the guesses are greater than something. And the guesses don't always decrease, so I think maybe a while true loop makes more sense. Okay. Can we iterate through a string? Because the string should be an array of characters, no? Oops. Oh, broccoli. Okay. So we could use some random numbers, a random number generator to pick the word. And we could have a thing that returns a string view. We do the same thing with the string view. Cool. All right, we'll start with hangman.h. Hangman here, include hangman h. If not defined, hangman h, define hangman h. And if namespace words. Then we could also have a function called getWord. Okay, so we could have definitely need IOStream. So, oh, it could have a standard vector of these. Instead of having word 1, word 2, word 3. Oh, we could just have a yeah, standard vector of string views, right? Oops. Wait, what? Hello? I don't know what happened there. Words when we say broccoli, China, panda, Korea, Japan, firearm, fantasy, spell, ability. Okay. And we could also have a namespace. We could have standard string view get random word. And what does it do? It gets a random word and it passes it from 0 to the size -1. I don't know if we need any unscoped enum stuff going on here right now. So we could also get random. Oh, and this is in H, so we actually... I think I'll define them here and then just migrate them over to CPP. Or, no, we'd probably do this better. Get random word, and then we could say include hangman, and then namespace words. And we could say standard string view, oops, string view, get random word. Yeah, and we can put random in here as well. RS. I know this is 9mm. Yeah. Hold. count. And this whole thing actually needs to be casted to standard, or to static cast to standard Merson Twister 10937 result type. And this could compile here. Hold. But we're not returning anything yet. This is fine. Rand. 7 calls, yep. Okay. And it's min max, and it calls random num getter. Cool. OS level random numbers, proceed, empty seed. Made with random OS numbers, or with OS level random numbers, and random time, and time defined number. Oh, I thought I heard the alarm. Oh my! Alright, 30 minutes till 1 o'clock. Okay. 30 minutes to do something. To learn a little bit about some Unreal shit, I guess. Okay. Do more of this in a minute.